Nutcracker syndrome is the compression of the left renal vein by the SMA and the aorta. Mayferner syndrome is the compression of the left iliac vein compressed by the right iliac artery. So it all started when I was about 12, 13 years old. I went to a theme park with my mum, my sister and my sister's friend. I was in agony. As you can imagine, the bar pressed at my tummy. My mum was telling me not to worry, not to freak out. I'm crying, I'm having this horrendous pain in my tummy, and I just keep thinking, like, is there something wrong with these roller coaster barriers? Are they pressing against my tummy too hard? Like, I don't understand. I'm 13 years old. I'm confused.
My Nutcracker syndrome journey started in the spring of 2012. I was at a concert, and I'd been there for a while, about 4 hours in, and I started getting really bad left-sided pain, lower left quadrant pain. It literally felt like something was going to explode. It was the first time I had felt that. I knew something wasn't right.
I thought nothing was wrong. We all thought it was maybe menstrual issues. So I went to the doctors. I was having issues with my periods. They were very infrequent, or they would last for a very long time. I had something called polycystic ovarian syndrome. And that meant that my ovaries were full of tiny little cysts. So they told me, it's nothing to worry about. This pain that you are experiencing must be in your head. It's some sort of issue related to IBS. When you get stressed out or anxious, you're going to be more sick. She showed me a diagram of how that worked. It made a lot of sense to me back then because I wasn't experiencing some of the worst symptoms yet.
Bonjour, je m'appelle May. En avril 2018, j'ai eu un diagnostic à tomber. Pourquoi j'ai dit finalement, c'est parce qu'avant cela, j'ai rencontré de nombreux médecins, de nombreux spécialistes. J'ai passé des tonnes et des tonnes d'examens et tous me disaient que tout était normal chez moi et que mes douleurs atroces étaient probablement dans ma tête. Mais au fond de moi, je savais que c'était pas dans ma tête parce qu'avant cela, j'étais capable de travailler, j'avais un travail. J'étais capable de courir 3 à 4 marathons par année. Je faisais du hiking dans les montagnes, je faisais des sauts en parachute, du vélo, la marche rapide. Bref, tout d'un coup, j'étais plus capable. Alors, en avril 2018, j'ai eu un radiologue interventionnel qui m'a donné un diagnostic, le syndrome de Nutcracker.
I was getting a lot of urine infections, and they were always being tested at the doctors, and the doctor were giving me antibiotics. And I was just on constant antibiotics, constantly being sick, constantly having burning sensations. When I'm going to the toilet, I was getting blood. As things started to progress, it started to get more blood, it started to get more pain, it started to get to the point where I literally couldn't focus. And then I missed my A-level exams. I was passing blood clots for the first time, and it was horrific. It was horrific. They thought it was kidney stones.
Once I had the diagnosis, I went full in. I'd never heard of Nutcracker. This is all new to me, so I started doing research. There's not a whole lot online about it, and what is online didn't really fit my symptoms. Although I did have intermittent blood in my urine. My kidney pain wasn't really bad at that time, although now it has progressed to where I do have left-sided kidney pain, and I can't take any medicine without kidney pain. I don't know if it's because they're not filtering correctly or what, and that's the struggle with this issue is doctors don't know what to tell you. They don't know if your symptoms are caused by Nutcracker syndrome. They just don't know anything about it.
And she said it was compression. I started crying because I had told them since I was 13 years old, since I was at that roller coaster ride, that my pain had felt like a tight fist squeezing, like a ball of pressure that just wouldn't go, and it was like throbbing, and it would have these flare-ups where one day it would just felt like I was having someone ripping into my tummy, and it just made sense. I just knew from that moment all these other diagnoses, it was wrong. It was Nutcracker. It'd always been Nutcracker. And so she told me, I'm going to refer you to a vascular surgeon. He will sort this out. It'll be urgent. We'll get it done as soon as possible. And so the next step was to see this vascular surgeon that I was referred to. So I'd waited 3 months. I had been accepted into university and I'd already been in hospital 3 times. I'd already been to hospital by ambulance 3 times. I was scared. I'd pinned all of my hopes on the fact that I was meeting this vascular surgeon who was apparently going to fix everything for me. I had some hope. I had this idea that things were going to get better until 5 days before I was due to meet this vascular surgeon. I got a letter saying that he would not be able to help me. He didn't know anything about my condition, and that it was far too dangerous and I needed to see one of the best doctors in the UK to help me. He didn't know who to refer me to still after like a month, and my symptoms were getting worse to the point where my mum had to pull me out of university a week early over Christmas last year. And you know, it made a massive impact on my confidence with my course. I fell behind massively because I had already missed a lot due to ill health, and now my confidence had just depleted. I had no faith in my skill. I had no faith in my talent. I felt like I couldn't do anything that anybody else could do because I'd missed out on so much, and I felt like I was at a massive disadvantage, all because I had this illness that was never ever truly looked into. I managed to find the consultant that I got referred to myself, and then I got referred to him, and I was too scared to talk. I just got choked up, and I was scared because I knew that this was the only man, this was the only person who could help me. And he told me that things were going to be okay. He told me that I did have nutcracker syndrome. He told me that things were going to get better. He told me that things may seem hard, but he can try to help me. There is no concrete answer, but there is treatment.
Une transposition de la veine rénale. Malheureusement, cette intervention n'est pas totalement une réussite car aujourd'hui, je suis toujours souffrante. Mais vous savez quoi? Ce n'est pas grave, car je vais continuer à me battre. Et s'il faut que je retourne dans la salle d'opération, ne serait-ce que pour avoir moins de douleur et pour être capable de remarcher puis de courir de nouveau bientôt, ben je vais le faire. Je vais tout faire parce que c'est de ma vie qu'on parle, puis j'ai pas l'intention de laisser le nutcracker gagner sur moi. Et vous savez, c'est pas facile sur le physique, mais il y a aussi au niveau moral, car avec le nutcracker et le méthaneux, qu'on appelle aussi coquette, là, puis la congestion pelvienne, c'est aussi perdre un travail, perdre un salaire et l'isolement social aussi qui est atroce parce que c'est difficile de planifier une activité et parfois je dois malheureusement canceller à la toute dernière minute, alors c'est tout cela.
I knew that I was capable of doing something, even when I am struggling, even when I am sick, even when I feel like the worst I could possibly feel. I know that I can do this. And then I had my stent in my leg, because they found out that I had another condition called Mayferner syndrome, and that was the iliac vein compression, which means that my leg wasn't properly getting blood, and it had started to go numb, and I was at massive risk of deep vein thrombosis. So I had the stent in my leg, and I was hopeful for some change. And since that stent, I haven't been too hopeful. So today I'm in a lot of pain. I am having UTI-like symptoms, and I'm actually peeing a little bit of blood with my urine, which is very, very painful, and sometimes that does escalate to clots. What I get is like a burning sensation, which actually comes and goes, but it's constantly throbbing. So it's not very nice, and it's just pretty much impossible to do anything when you have it because it just lasts for such a long time, and traditional painkillers can't get rid of that pain. So today I'm in a lot of pain after yesterday. I'm really, really exhausted. I've had to sleep for most of the day because part of my illness means that I am incredibly exhausted because my body is trying to like cope and process with all the pain, as well as kind of fight off that initial sick feeling. I go into like these horrible sweats, so my body is just completely tired. It's just horrific. I'm just pissing blood, to be honest. I'm just peeing, urinating blood. It's not fun, it's extremely painful, and it's a classic sign of nutcracker. And it just proves that my illness is still there, because it's still happening. It's still incredibly painful. It's currently 3 a.m. and I'm going to hospital in an emergency ambulance. Okay, so I'm in hospital. I have a cannula. I've just had Oromorph. I've just had a suppository, and I have just had a blood test and a urine test. It's not a urine infection, which means it is directly related to the vascular syndrome. I'm waiting on my results. Things have not been great. Things have not been what they were promised to be. But I'm dealing with it because I know now that I can make this film to help other people, to raise awareness, to tell my story, to show how I feel, to show a bit of compassion to those with stories worse than mine, because there are stories worse than mine.